If you are a man over 60, what I am about to tell you could spare you years of stress, money problems, and emotional pain. These are 5 hard truths that many men only realize far too late when it comes to relationships at this stage of life. Whether you are divorced, widowed, or have been single for quite some time, this is something you really need to hear. Society constantly pushes the idea that we must always be looking for a partner, that being alone is something negative or even frightening. But what if staying single is actually one of the smartest choices you can make right now? What if the traditional idea of a relationship no longer fits your life anymore? And what if that is completely fine? This is not about being angry, bitter, or blaming women. This is about facing realities that most people are too uncomfortable to talk about. So, if you are ready for honest talk that goes against what society keeps repeating, let's begin. The first hard truth is that your financial safety is at risk. Here is the honest reality. By the time you are over 60, you have spent most of your life building what you have. Your savings, your retirement fund, your home, your social security, maybe even a pension if you were fortunate. This money and these assets are meant to protect you for the rest of your life. After working for 4 decades or more, you have earned the right to guard what you built. But here is the part few people mention. When you enter a serious relationship later in life, you may be putting all that careful planning in danger. This is not just about paying for dinners or covering dates. It is about the real and often unexpected costs that come from mixing your life with someone else's at this age. Imagine this situation. You meet someone and things start to get serious. Before you know it, you are dealing with medical expenses that affect both of you. She needs a treatment or surgery that her insurance does not fully pay for. You step in to help because you care. That makes sense. But now the emergency savings you carefully planned for has taken a hit you never expected. Then there are family issues. Your grown children begin worrying about what this means for their inheritance. Her grown children are watching closely how much money you spend on their mother. Suddenly, you are caught in the middle of family tension you never signed up for. These situations can turn ugly very quickly. I have personally seen families fall apart over money arguments that started the moment dad began dating someone new. Legal matters also become far more complicated than they were when you were younger. If you move in together or decide to marry, you now have to deal with prenuptial agreements, estate plans, changing beneficiaries, and legal paperwork that can easily go wrong. One mistake can leave your estate tied up in court for years. There is another painful truth many men face. A lot of women over 60 did not save enough for retirement. Maybe they worked less. Maybe they went through a rough divorce, or maybe they made poor money choices earlier in life. Whatever the reason, you worked for decades to secure your future, not to become someone else's retirement plan. This is not about being cold or selfish. It is about being wise. You must protect what you earned. Another reality is that you have finally earned your freedom. Ask yourself this question. Have you ever truly been free in your adult life? Not just free for a weekend trip or a short break, but real freedom. The kind where you control your time completely. In your 20s and 30s, you were focused on building a career, proving yourself, dealing with bosses, deadlines, and constant pressure. In your 40s and 50s, you were raising children, paying mortgages, covering college costs, and handling family responsibilities. Your time was never fully your own. Now, things are different. You can wake up whenever you want without anyone questioning you. You can spend an entire weekend working on a hobby in your garage. You can decide to travel for weeks or months without needing permission from anyone. But once you enter a relationship at this stage, things change quickly. You start checking in about your plans. You can no longer just decide to play golf or meet friends without discussing it first. She wants to know where you are going, who you are with, and when you will return. That may be normal for couples, but you already spent most of your life doing that. You begin compromising how you spend your time. She wants to attend social events you have no interest in. She expects weekly family gatherings that cut into your personal downtime. These things may seem small, but they pile up faster than you think. Before long, you find yourself attending events you do not enjoy, talking to people you barely know, and pretending to be interested just to keep the peace. Many men say they feel trapped again, repeating the same patterns they thought they escaped after divorce or loss. They traded one set of obligations for another. When asked if companionship was worth giving up their freedom, many cannot honestly say yes. This is your time now. After decades of putting others first, you have earned the right to protect your time and energy. There is also the uncomfortable reality of health and caregiving. This is something most people avoid talking about, but it may be the most important point of all. After 60, health problems increase for everyone. That is simply how aging works. Our bodies slow down, chronic illnesses appear, and physical limitations grow. When you enter a relationship at this age, you may be agreeing to become a caregiver, whether you realize it or not. Statistically speaking, men tend to pass away earlier than women. This means there is a strong chance that if you become seriously involved now, you may end up caring for her as her health declines. It often starts with someone who seems active and healthy at 65. Then 5 or 10 years later, serious problems appear. It might be arthritis, diabetes, memory loss, or mobility issues. Instead of enjoying retirement, you find yourself managing appointments, medications, insurance calls, and daily care. The stress of caregiving can seriously damage your own health. Research shows caregivers experience higher rates of depression, anxiety, and physical illness. I have spoken to men who spent their entire 70s caring for partners who became ill shortly after they got together. Some have not taken a vacation in years. Others cannot leave the house without arranging help. This is not how they imagined their later years. And there is an even harder question to ask. If you become sick first, are you certain she will stay? Some men discover too late that when they need care, the relationship fades. Now they are sick, heartbroken, and financially tied to someone who is no longer there. Another truth is that you are comfortable with how you live, and that is not a flaw. By 60, you are not stubborn. You are efficient. You know exactly how you function best because you have spent a lifetime figuring it out. You know how you like your coffee, how you sleep best, what routines keep you healthy, and how much social interaction you can handle. You know what drains you and what gives you peace. When someone new enters your life, those routines are often disrupted. Small differences become daily frustrations. Over time, those small frustrations can turn into resentment. At this stage, changing your habits is not exciting. It is exhausting, and forcing yourself to adjust just to fit someone else's preferences often leads to unhappiness. There is nothing wrong with liking your life the way it is. Finally, there is the truth about loneliness versus peace. Many men confuse being alone with being lonely. They are not the same thing. Being alone can be peaceful, calm, and deeply fulfilling. Being in the wrong relationship can feel far lonelier than living by yourself. Companionship sounds appealing, but it often comes with emotional demands, expectations, and compromises that outweigh the benefits. At this stage of life, peace is priceless. Waking up without stress, managing your finances without fear, enjoying your time without obligation, and protecting your health are things many men sacrifice too easily because society tells them they should not be alone. But the truth is, being single after 60 is not a failure. For many men, it is the smartest and healthiest choice they can make. You reach a point in life where you need to recharge, and your tolerance for drama is completely worn out. For most men at this stage, that tolerance is already at zero, and honestly, it makes sense. Modern dating culture keeps pushing the idea that we should always adjust, always bend, always meet in the middle. Self help books talk endlessly about compromise, flexibility, and growing together no matter what. But the truth is, you have already spent decades doing exactly that. You have been flexible for more than 40 years of adult life. You compromised in marriages, relationships, raising children, dealing with difficult relatives, managing jobs, careers, and responsibilities that never seemed to end. You gave up comfort, time, and peace for the sake of others again and again. At this point in life, you have earned the right to live the way that actually works for you. Now, here is what often happens when you get a new girlfriend at this age. Suddenly, things you never thought about become daily negotiations. Bathroom schedules become a discussion. She takes an hour to get ready in the morning while you only need 15 minutes and just want to start your day. Your eating habits don't match. You prefer dinner early in the evening around 5:30 while she doesn't even think about eating until 8 at night. You wake up early and feel best in the morning. She comes alive late at night and wants to stay up. Before long, your sleep schedules clash and neither of you is fully rested anymore. Let me give you a real life example that shows how small things can turn into big problems. I know a man who likes his house cool exactly at 68 degrees. That temperature makes him comfortable and relaxed. He started dating a woman who insisted the house had to be 74 degrees at all times. They argued about the thermostat constantly. This went on for 2 years before they finally broke up. On the surface, it sounds like a small, almost silly disagreement. But when you are uncomfortable in your own home every single day, that small issue turns into a serious quality of life problem. Your home is supposed to be your safe place, your retreat, not a source of daily stress. This leads to an important truth. The older you get, the higher the cost of compatibility problems. What felt like a minor irritation at 30, something you could joke about or ignore, becomes a real issue at 65. You no longer have endless time to slowly adapt to someone else's habits and preferences. You don't have decades to adjust. You have years, maybe a couple of decades if you are fortunate. Every single day matters now. Wanting things to work your way does not make you difficult or selfish. It makes you honest. After more than 6 decades of life experience, you have earned the right to protect your comfort, your routines, and your peace of mind. No one should make you feel guilty for that. Another major issue is the drama that you simply do not need anymore. Life is short, and at 60 and beyond, you truly understand how short it is. You have likely lost friends, you may have lost a spouse, you have watched parents age and pass away. Mortality is no longer a distant idea, it is real, and that reality brings clarity. Peace matters, calm matters, feeling content matters, constant drama does not matter at all. Here is the hard truth about dating at this age. Every relationship comes with baggage, but after 60, that baggage is heavy. It is not a small suitcase. It is more like large trunks filled with complications. These are things you will have to deal with if you get involved. Most women at this age have an ex-husband somewhere in the picture. Sometimes they are co-parenting adult children. Sometimes there are financial connections that were never fully resolved. Sometimes there is anger or resentment that was never truly worked through. And whether you like it or not, you will hear about it. You will be pulled into conversations and conflicts that have nothing to do with you, yet somehow become your problem. Then there are adult children who do not trust you. They may think you are interested in their mother's money, or worse, that you are trying to replace their father. At family gatherings, they keep their distance. They question your motives. They make it clear that you are not fully welcome. You thought your days of dealing with difficult in-laws were over, but suddenly you are right back in the middle of it again. The family complications keep growing. Maybe her sister doesn't like you. Her closest friend feels the need to question you and analyze your intentions. There are grandchildren you are expected to buy gifts for and attend birthday parties for, even though they are not related to you. You find yourself pulled into family situations that stretch across generations. There is drama, tension, and expectations, and very little escape from it. On top of that, after 60 years of living, everyone carries emotional scars. Maybe she is still angry about a divorce that happened 15 years ago. Maybe she struggles with trust because she was betrayed in the past. Maybe she has abandonment fears from childhood that show up as clinginess or constant reassurance seeking. Somehow, you are expected to help her work through all of this. You become the listener, the fixer, the emotional support system for decades of unresolved pain. What many men discover is that dating at this age often turns them into unpaid therapists, financial advisors, and family mediators. You are helping her solve problems she has lived with for years. You are managing family conflicts that existed long before you arrived. You are dealing with emotional crises while trying to enjoy what should be a calmer, more peaceful stage of life. One man told me his girlfriend called him crying 3 times in one week over drama involving her ex-husband and their daughter's wedding. Another spent an entire Thanksgiving trying to manage tension between his girlfriend and her adult son, who did not approve of their relationship. Another found himself stuck in the middle of arguments about caring for her elderly mother. This is not what most people imagine when they think about companionship. Peace of mind has real value. It is priceless. Trading it for companionship that brings constant stress and chaos rarely makes sense. You have already spent decades handling emotional complexity and interpersonal problems. You are allowed to say that you are done with that chapter. This does not mean isolating yourself completely or giving up on connection. It does not mean living alone, filled with regret. That is not the point at all. What it does mean is accepting that the traditional serious relationship model may no longer fit your life, and that is okay. There are other ways to enjoy companionship without the heavy obligations. You can build friendships with women. You can date casually without long-term pressure. You can attend events with companions when you want company. You can join social groups, clubs, or activities where you interact with people regularly without the weight of a full relationship. Many men at this stage find they are happiest when they focus on friendships, hobbies, family, and personal interests. They travel when they want. They spend money how they choose. They organize their days exactly the way they like. And many of them say they feel more relaxed and satisfied than they ever did while managing the constant demands of a relationship. Some people worry about loneliness, and that concern is understandable. Loneliness is real, and it can hurt. But being in a relationship does not guarantee freedom from loneliness. Some of the loneliest people are in relationships where they feel unseen, unappreciated, or trapped. Being alone can be hard, but feeling lonely next to someone else can be even worse. You can protect yourself from loneliness without having a girlfriend. Stay connected to friends and family. Take part in activities that bring you around others. Volunteer, join clubs, attend classes, and build a wider community instead of placing all your emotional needs on one person. At the end of the day, this is about being honest with yourself about what truly brings you peace, comfort, and fulfillment in this stage of life.